Hello everyone, welcome to the next session on ABAP on HANA. In the last session of ABAP on HANA, we talked about ABAP managed data procedures. We talked about how to create an ABAP managed data procedures using ABAP programming, how to mark a particular class so that it can contain EMDPs, and how to execute an ABAP managed data procedure from another ABAP managed data procedure. Towards the end of the class, I also showed you one pending topic, which was how to create a scripted calculation view using HANA Studio. In today's session, we will start with Core Data Service in SAP ABAP on HANA. So what is Core Data Service, CDS views, and why we need CDS views? So one reason why what we have noticed by far that the life cycle is a challenge when it comes to the proxy object. So whenever you create HANA database artifacts like information models and procedures, in order to consume them in ABAP programming, you need to create the proxy objects for these corresponding HANA database objects to do a code push down. And then the lifecycle management becomes a challenge for you. If you would like to transport these objects to the quality, you need to make use of HANA transport container to logically group your proxy objects along with exact HANA database objects through a delivery unit to a HANA transport container and release them together. Now, sometimes it may happen that there is a lack of synchronization between these proxy objects with respect to the HANA database objects, and because of that, it will lead to problems in your quality system. So this bottom-up approach was simplified. The flip of pyramid brought down to NetWeaver 7.4 SP5 onwards. We have a top-down approach where we create the artifacts in ABAP system, and once they are activated or invoked for the first time, the corresponding HANA database object gets created in the underlying database systems. This completely simplifies your architecture for creating and doing a code push down to the HANA database using ABAP stack. Another interesting advantage of these concepts are that these concepts are not just limited to HANA database, but they indeed work with every database. But true use of them is comes into picture when you're using database as underlying database as HANA database, because HANA has this capability of code push down. Okay, so then your lifecycle management has also been simplified using a single transport request. So you will put all the artifacts in a single transport request and release them. And this would lead your transaction to reach to the quality, and accordingly these objects gets created in the quality HANA database systems. We saw the concept of schema mapping in HANA DB, which identifies the corresponding ABAP schema in which these objects will be created. So by far we saw that how typically we have a procedure, and that procedure can be converted to an ABAP managed data procedure. Okay, now how can we make use of a view which we were creating by far in HANA DB as information models, and how that can be simplified using CDS view concept. So CDS view is basically an abstraction of your ABAP to database layer, which allows you to model semantically rich data models which were earlier used to be information model in HANA DB. Now you will build a semantically rich data model in ABAP stack, and on activation it leads to creating the database corresponding database view in the database system. Okay, I am not sure about the guideline which are all the databases supported with respect to CDS views and AMDPs. AMDPs are only supported with HANA DB, but CDS views I have seen it is supported with HANA DB along with Sybase DB and Max DB also. Okay, I'm not sure about Oracle as well as Microsoft SQL and DB2 databases, DB6 databases of IBM, but I have seen working of CDS views with respect to all the databases, major databases which SAP system has, typically the HANA DB and Max DB and Sybase DB. Okay, so I'm not sure, you got to read the designed the documents about whether Oracle DB is supported or not. Okay, but yes, SAP says that any underlying database is supported with respect to CDS. But again, you need to go ahead and read the guidelines of NetWeaver 7.4 SP5 to see whether Oracle DB is supported or not. Okay, so since our concept is all about ABAP on HANA here, we will talk always in that context, whatever is supported with on top of HANA database. Okay, so let's move on now. and see how can we create a CDS view. But before we get into it, from the interview point of view, what is a CDS view? So in interview, typically first question comes is what is a CDS view? So there is a typical definition which you might have read about it, or you might have heard about it on all the different platforms or YouTube videos or whatever documents you've read. So CDS is an enhancement of SQL language, okay, which provides us DDL for defining semantically rich data models. Basically, these data models are nothing but your table. It could be a table, it could be a view, what you will typically create, and user defined types in database. Okay, so it's an CDS view is actually one of the best alternate of your information model what you have been creating by far in HANA DB. Those who are working with SAP S4 HANA product, remember guys, you will typically not get the access of HANA DB instance directly. Okay, so if you would like to do any code push down, you have to use one of the concept what we have here, which is CDS view or AMDP. You are not allowed to do any changes directly in the HANA DB if the product which you are using is S4 HANA on premise or on cloud. Okay, so that's why these concepts are getting so much of popularity when it comes to real ABAP on HANA. So this course not just helps you to build your knowledge on ABAP on HANA, but also helps you to work with S4 HANA products. In the upcoming session, I will show you how to use such a rich semantically created data model in directly in a Fiori application with context of SAP S4 HANA. We will see that in detail in upcoming chapter. Okay, so this is the definition of a CDS view. Now, since you see here that it's a SQL enhancement, it's an enhancement of SQL. So what is this enhancement? What is this SQL enhancement? One second, guys. So what is this SQL enhancement? What we have it here. So let's talk about it in detail. So first enhancement which has been done is annotation. Okay, so now you have an annotation to enrich the data model with additional details. So this is the main advantage of using the CDS view. So you have annotation, which is an enhancement in SQL. So in SQL, you don't have annotations, but here you have got annotations. You will see in a minute when I create our first CDS view, there will be a lot of annotations which we will be using. All the annotations in CDS view starts with at the rate of symbol. At the rate of. This is the symbol we will be using. Then next concept, which is in SQL, it's known as join concept. So we have inner join, outer join, left outer join, stuff like that. That concept has been enhanced, and now this concept is known as association concept. So association at conceptual level. So you remember when we used to read databases in our college days, the concept of the first concept which used to start in databases was entity relationship diagram, ER diagram, where you used to write which entity is connected to which entity with the cardinality, and later on when you implement it, each entity gets converted to a database table. So that's exactly happens here, and the relationship between entities was used to be depicted using association. So that's the concept what we have it here. We will typically be creating CDS views as entities, and then these entities will be connected using association level at conceptual level. Okay, so that is what happens here. So this association concept is basically a replacement of join condition. Okay, replacement of joins. Basically it is a join technically, but it's a instead of writing an inner join and outer join, you will do it using simple association conditions. Okay. Now the third thing what is again important is expressions. So this is what also has been enhanced in terms of SQL. So expressions will bring it your calculation itself into the query. So you can use case expression like we saw in SQL. In ABAP on HANA, we can write case statements to do some manipulation. We can write string expressions. We can write literal expressions. We can do some calculations. All these things are basically expressions inside, which is basically used to embed, used to code calculation in views or in queries. You can code calculations in queries basically. Now, basically, the CDS concept is not just there in ABAP on HANA. It's a generalized concept from ABAP side. So, or in SAP with respect to HANA database. So, the idea is to have one data model on SAP technology platform, which all SAP products understand. Okay. So that's the whole idea of having CDS. So there are majorly two categories, or sorry, two types of CDS if you look at. So one is ABAP CDS and another is HANA CDS. So what exactly the architecture of HANA CDS? So if you typically look at any system, what you see in SAP, you have your database, which is now being majorly used as HANA database, and then you have on top of this HANA database an application server. Now this application server could be any application server. So majorly you would know three of these application server. One is ABAP application server. Second could be BW application server, which is again built using ABAP only, BW ABAP. And third, which is also you might have not have heard about it, that HANA database, it's a hybrid database. It comes with a lightweight application server called HANA Access. Okay. Some people call it as extra small. Some people also known it as an execution engine for SAP HANA. Okay. This is an extension server, which is a lightweight application server embedded in HANA DB. So CDS view or CDS concept is just to do a code push down into the HANA database, and this concept is there basically in your ABAP layer and HANA layer also. So what you ultimately do is you will model a CDS view over here in your ABAP layer, and ultimately when you activate it, it leads to creation of an underlying database view. So a database view will get created. Database view gets created in underlying database, which means all the manipulation of your data, all your pulling of data takes place directly into the database layer. So this concept has been generalized and it is available with ABAP as well as with BW as well as with HANA Access. All three technologies make use of this concept of CDS. So there is also a concept of HANA CDS, which is the same. So in HANA Access, that's going to be my next course. I will explain about what is HANA Access and how to do server-side JavaScript, how to use server-side JavaScript Access.js to build a native HANA application end-to-end. Native HANA application you can build using Access.js. So that will be my next course. So CDS concept is there with ABAP layer also. It is there with HANA layer also. Now, what is the advantage of using this? The clear advantage is life cycle has been simplified by the application layer. Application layer creates a CDS, and on activation it creates a database object. So once you transport this CDS from the application layer to the quality, it correspondingly creates in the quality system an underlying database view. And when you execute, when you call this guy, it ultimately call the database and it executes this database view, which means all the calculation which used to earlier happen in application layer used to have now will happen in app database, and database will return only final result set to the application layer. And then you have consumers. Now the beauty is CDS has been widely adopted and there are a lot of different consumers which can consume the CDS view directly. Some of the examples are SAP Fiori. There is a capability in SAP Fiori to consume the CDS view directly. I will show you in upcoming days how to build a Fiori application which consumes, which can talk to the CDS view directly. using creating an OData service basically. So you will have an OData layer in the middle. Of course, that's created in your application layer using CDS, and that will talk to the Fiori app directly. So Fiori app talks to OData, OData talks to CDS, CDS talks to this database view in the database. So that will be available directly for you. So you can create um, OData service directly from CDS view from NetWeaver 7.5 onwards. In fact, I will show you all the three techniques how to create OData service on top of a CDS view, and then your Fiori application can consume this OData built on top of CDS view. There is also a concept of SAP KPI modeler in SAP HANA, which also uses CDS view directly. This concept was taught in my last course, where I have taught you how to use a CDS view in SAP S4 HANA in my Fiori Launchpad and Web ID course. Hope you remember that, how to use KPI modeler to consume a CDS view and build a Fiori app without writing a single line of code. So this was covered already in my last course. Then there are BOBI tools for analytics purpose, like Crystal reports and other tools, which can also consume your CDS views directly. They understand the semantic notation what you're going to write in a CDS view, which we will see in a moment. And then you have also the tools like Crystal reports. You have another concept in SAP called BOPF, Business Object Processing Framework. BOPF also has a great integration with CDS view. You can also build a floor plan manager FPM application using CDS view. You can also use IDA, ALV IDA, integrated data access. That's a new concept, IDA framework, which allows you to call the CDS views directly, and it pulls the data from CDS view also directly. So these are all different consumers of your CDS view. Then of course your native HANA applications, uh, which are built using Access, HANA Access. Your Access OData and other consumers are there, which can consume the CDS views as well. So these are all the consumers. These are all the layers, application layers, and this is what the concept: code push down, simplified lifecycle management, semantically rich data model, extension to open SQL in three terms: annotations, association, and expressions, and that becomes your CDS. Okay, so there are two types of CDS: ABAP CDS and HANA CDS. This course we will not talk about HANA CDS, we will just talk about ABAP CDS, how to create CDS views in ABAP, and on activation it leads to creation of a database view in the underlying database. Okay, so that's how you maximize your code push down to the database layer. In fact, this concept not just applies to HANA-DB but all the major database. I'm not sure about Oracle and DB6, but all the major databases are supported with respect to CDS views, be it MaxDB, SybaseDB. Since our course talks more about ABAP on HANA, here we don't need to worry, because a HANA database completely supports your CDS view. Okay, so that's the CDS view. So what happens behind the scenes when you create a CDS view? So whenever you create a CDS view, so you will always start with defining a CDS view using CDS data definition. So you will define a CDS data definition. This is also known as, if you see in industry, different developers use different terminologies. This is also known as CDS document. People will also call it as CDS source code. Okay, so whenever you create your first CDS document, CDS data definition, or CDS source, or what typically happens on activation, it will create two things. First, it creates a CDS entity. Second thing, it will create a CDS SQL view. Okay, so if you come here, it will create on activation, it creates a CDS SQL view, which is visible in SE11, equivalent to your views in SE11 transaction. Second is CDS entity. Okay, there's a question here: what's the difference between HANA CDS and ABAP CDS? The answer is, in HANA CDS you essentially has to define an entity using HANA access code, and then later on top you create a CDS view. But here you just have to define a data definition. Okay, and then on activation it creates an entity automatically for you. Here the layer in which you're creating is ABAP layer. There the layer which you're creating is HANA access layer. Okay, so this is the major difference between CDS view in HANA access and ABAP. Hope that answer your question. Okay, so on activation of CDS data definition, it would lead to creation of two objects. One is CDS SQL view, which is visible in SE11 transaction. Another thing it creates is a CDS entity. Remember, these two things will be created on activation. Okay, so you would create two things. One is CDS entity, one is CDS SQL view in the underlying system. So what exactly CDS data definition or a document is? It includes all your entities, your tables, your user defined data types, your context, your association and annotation. That's how you will write your CDS document or data definition. Activation would lead to generation of two artifacts. One is a data dictionary view, SE11 view, and another is a CDS entity in the underlying database. Now, for consumption purpose in your ABAP program, you should always use CDS entity, not the CDS SQL view. I will also tell you the reason why you should not do it, but let's quickly look at what is annotation. So this is one major important thing whenever you create a CDS view. What is annotation? Because you will see a lot of annotations coming in CDS view. So what is annotations? What is annotations in CDS view? So annotation can be used to add metadata information to CDS entity. So ultimately we will look at this entity. We will always use this entity for consumption. Annotation specifies the properties and semantics of entity and its behavior when it's consumed. Okay, so as I told you, there are a lot of consumers here. You will use CDS view in a Fiori app, you will use CDS view with IDA, you will use CDS view business object processing framework or FPM application or a KPI modeler. So annotations will control the behavior when you're integrating it directly with a Fiori application. How does it behave? If you want to build an analytical app, there are a lot of analytical annotations what we typically use. So that will define like what is the aggregation level. So we saw in our calculation view that we were doing aggregation like sum, average, mean, max. So how do you define that? I want to do a calculate a total in my database layer. I want to do an average of this value in my database. As you all know, the thumb rule for code push down, all the calculation is done in database and only the final result is sent to the application layer. So that's what exactly should happen. You need to tell the CDS that I want to total up this price value, I want to total up, or I want to calculate average number of days in my open item analysis scenario, or I want to total up the gross currency amount, right? So how will you tell this to the database layer? That is controlled by annotations. So that these are called some annotations are analytical, some are semantical, some are object level. So there are different variety of annotations. You will see these annotations in upcoming discussion when I will create some CDS views. In CDS view you can also control whether your CDS view can be accessed by anybody or only people with certain roles and certain authorizations can access the CDS view. So all the DCL, data control language, DCL also can be implemented using CDS view. We'll see one example of controlling the data access using CDS view. That's very important in an enterprise, that your sensitive data is being protected under certain roles. And people who have assigned those roles, only those people should be able to access the data, because it's all about data access using CDS views. So we will see how to do implement a DCL source as well for a CDS view in upcoming chapter. How to control your data access using CDS view by implementing DCL source. Okay, so we will see all these things. So how will your data be consumed? That's what is controlled by annotations. The metadata can also be accessed by consumption tool like your Fiori app, your KPI modeler. All these people will use these annotations. So in future, the consumers will be able to extend existing view definitions and add their own annotations without any having any any remodeling. So the beauty of CDS view is extension. So we saw one disadvantage of our database views. So if you create your information model directly in database, there is nobody who can extend it, because typically you don't have access to even HANA DB. So extension is also an advantage when users can, or SAP customers and partners can extend CDS views, including their own properties into it. Okay, that is
Vijay,
also,
sorry to
yeah. Yeah, Charu, tell me.
I'll just slightly go back. You in the previous slide, you were saying that you can create serious views on top of ABAP application layer or HANA Access application layer. But HANA Access application layer, as I understand, is a part of HANA database, right? I mean, so the CDS you are
Absolutely.
creating is going to be by default HANA Access CDS view. Like, how do you say that it is ABAP application layer CDS view?
If you look at the
I didn't
database
get the
engine,
difference.
correct, you're right. So if you look at the database engine, so HANA also has this HANA Access, which is a lightweight application server. Now SAP have said that this Access engine is already part of this database, right? So this is why what you will see typically, that this Access engine is already part of it. But from the consumer point of view, if you look at your application logic is written in HANA Access, it is executed by this engine, right? It's not executed by a core database, it's executed by this engine. So it's an application layer for HANA itself. Though you're right, it's part of SAP HANA database, but it's an application layer technically. It is separate layer from HANA. So if you also go back to our HANA instance, let me quickly add it once again, and I will show you where is this access engine. You will see that in our HANA database, this access engine is a separate service which is running. So it's actually a application layer itself, lightweight application, which is running inside HANA database. And when you're defining a program, when you're writing a program in HANA Access, you always write it towards HANA Access. HANA Access is the engine which understands it. And when you're creating a CDS view, it creates a CDS in HANA Access, and on activation it ultimately creates an object in database layer. So though it's a single box, but the layers are different. Okay, HANA Access is integral part of SAP HANA DB, but the layering is different. Hope that answer your question. No.
Okay, but then how are we going to define ABAP application layer CDS? Like, how I didn't get it. Like, what part is going to differentiate which one is ABAP CDS and which one is HANA Access CDS? Is there a
So if you,
particular way of
okay.
defining it or a syntactical difference or?
Yes, yes, there is a syntactical difference. So in HANA, basically we model entities. Okay. In HANA Access, when you are writing a HANA Access program, you create an Access project. But here in ABAP on HANA, you create a ABAP project. So how did we access all the artifacts related to uh, AMDP or classes or programs? We created an ABAP project which acts like a proxy to connect to our ABAP system in our ADT tools, and then we are modeling everything in the ADT. And then when we activate, it creates things in the ABAP system, whether it be a program or something, or it creates accordingly things in the database layer. So there is a syntactical difference in HANA CDS and ABAP CDS. There are two different programming paradigm. Here your programming paradigm is ABAP. Here the programming paradigm is Access. And typically we use Access.js, server-side JavaScript. So this is completely different programming paradigm. So you will see different syntax for creating HANA Access or HANA based CDS views. And that is something which is covered in my next course, not in this course. In this course, we'll only talk about ABAP CDS. And in fact, people who are working with SAP S4 HANA, you will only work with ABAP CDS basically. You will not work with HANA CDS. This is used more when you want to do native HANA application development. And that's exactly my next course is all about. Okay. So right now, for you
Okay,
to just, it's ample enough to know that there are two types of CDS, HANA CDS and ABAP CDS. HANA CDS are created in HANA Access Engine, which is an lightweight application server integrated in HANA database. Okay, that's what you should mention. And there is an ABAP CDS which is basically created in your ABAP layer. When you're working as an ABAP on HANA developer, you will be creating a CDS in ABAP system using ABAP CDS technique using ADT tools. But here you will be using, of course, ADT tool, but you will be using HANA modeler perspective, or sorry, HANA development perspective. So this is completely
Can you?
different way. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Can you just show us? I mean, at a later point of time, like how do you define it? Like not actual example per se, but this is the way
Sure.
we
Maybe
go
I
for
will
the
I will
HANA
do one
City.
thing. I will download one sample of HANA CDS and show you in upcoming chapter how to create one. Okay, but there will be a lot of concepts there,
Okay.
like a repository, HANA access repository, access project, dot access file, access app file. There will be different concepts of HANA access related. Those you will not be able to understand, but I will just show you one sample example that, okay, see, this is a HANA CDS. Okay, so let's move on now, but otherwise we'll not be able to complete.
Just one more request. Can you go a bit slow? Like you're going too fast,
This
I
is
think.
theory part. I want to cover this theory part little faster so that we can actually see a lot of
Okay.
examples in the
Okay.
system.
No worries.
Okay, so what exactly happens? You will be writing a CDS data definition, and on activation it will be creating two artifacts. One is a data dictionary view and another will be a CDS entity. Okay, where will we use HANA access, where will you use HANA CDS? Of course, in native HANA application development we will be using, and I think Nana, you are using already this concept in your HANA access, because you have already a native HANA application in your company. ABAP CDS can be viewed in SC11, but HANA CDS cannot be seen in SC11. Perfect answer, because that's a completely different programming paradigm. ABAP CDS is a ABAP programming paradigm. If you're working with ABAP on HANA or SAP S4 HANA, definitely you will come across concept of ABAP CDS, not HANA CDS. And I think HANA Access or HANA native HANA development is not that popular as ABAP on HANA development is in the market. Okay, so this I told you just because in interview sometime people ask what is HANA CDS and what is ABAP CDS, just to test your knowledge. Typically nobody will go deep into HANA CDS, but yes, if you are interested, definitely we have I will be planning a new course on HANA Access development. You can join that. We will create an Access project, Access OData services, Access JavaScript server side programs, Node.js based applications, no data server which is built OData server on Node.js, and then we will build an end-to-end Fury application and deploy in HANA Access. That's what we'll be doing in that course, but not the context of this course. So you will be creating a CDS document, CDS source code. Some people also call it as CDS source code. Okay, so all these are same names. You find any of these names in the industry, they are almost same thing. So source code creation would activate two things. On activation it creates a data dictionary view SC11, and another will be CDS entity. So now you may ask me a question, Anubhav, why we need a CDS view? We already have view concept in SC11. We can create a database view, projection view in SC11 transaction. Why we need CDS view? Right, fair enough. And that's also a very good interview question. What is the comparison or difference between existing view concept in SE11 transaction? So what is existing views in SE11, your data dictionary views does, and what is CDS view does? Why CDS view? So this is definitely an interview question. Why we need CDS view? Why cannot you leverage on existing SE11 data dictionary views? The first reason that SE11 data dictionary views, they do not support code pushdown. Okay, so maybe I will do one thing. I will try to draw a table and we can do a comparison in that table. That would be better rather than writing like this. We'll get into formatting errors. So then let's put parameters. This table you can remember, very important from interview point of view. CDS views, and then you have your traditional view. What are all the major advantages and disadvantages of using traditional views and database views? So let's quickly look at them so that you will understand the context why these CDS views are popular in industry these days. So first advantage is code pushdown, code to data paradigm. This is only supported with CDS view. There is no support for code to data paradigm. So what happens when you create a data dictionary view? It always passes through the database abstraction layer. It first, when you run or your data preview on traditional view, it creates a SQL statement, which is an open SQL statement. This open SQL statement is given to database interface. Database interface converts this to a native SQL statement, and then the data is pulled out from the database layer, all the data unnecessarily, and then on top of it, if you are doing some aggregation, that will be applied in the application layer. But if you do the same thing with CDS view, only the final result is transferred from database to the application layer. By the way, if you have applied any aggregation like sum, min, max, or an expression using string expression or some calculation you've written, that is done completely inside the database layer. So this is the best candidate for code pushdown. Hence you will get an enhanced performance with respect to CDS view in compared to the traditional data views. Second thing is complexity. You can go with more high complexity in CDS views as compared to traditional database views. For example, if you're writing a CDS view, okay, you can basically, your functional consultants can write it. It's pretty easy to write CDS views as compared to traditional database view. You got to go ahead and do a lot of steps, but here it's pure code, pure human readable code, more semantic in nature. It can do, it is more powerful in terms of complexity, but traditional views are not that easy to code. You need to learn ABAP, you need to learn data dictionary. So complexity wise, CDS views are easy, but traditional views are not easy. So people need to have data dictionary knowledge to write that. Then complexity in terms of what it can do. Okay, so if you say, can you do outer join? So outer join is not supported in traditional views, but it is supported in CDS views. So that is in terms of complexity, what else you can do more in CDS views as compared to traditional view. Outer join is not supported in traditional views. What about complex expression? If you want to write some expressions, if you want to write some logical conditions, some logic, it is supported using CDS views. You saw already an example in ABAP on HANA. We can use case statement, but we cannot use such case statements or any processing logic as part of the traditional views. That is not supported in SE11 traditional views. What about analytical adoption? So if you want to give uh, your data which is produced out of view to a Fiori application, and you want the Fiori application to understand that, that's not possible with traditional views. It's only possible in CDS views because we have analytical annotations in CDS views, right? So don't talk about what is these analytical annotations. We will see it in the example. So right now, just understand the difference. That is what CDS view additionally supports. One example we already saw in last course, KPI modeler, where we consumed a CDS view directly, and that's what has become our source of data for a KPI tile. Then what about OData support? You have a direct support from NetWeaver 7.5 onwards. You can create a OData service from CDS view with just one annotation called odata.publish equal to true, and that creates a CDS view out of the box. Sorry, an OData service out of the box. But that's not possible in traditional views. If you want to do it, you have to implement a service project, create a DPC extension, and then call that view. And then once again, all the data is pulled to the application layer, and then you expose that via OData service with your coding. But here there is a direct support from NetWeaver 7.5. I will show you how can you expose an OData service from CDS view directly. Okay, that's not supported with a traditional data views in SE11 transaction. What about types? If you want to declare a data type using CDS views and traditional views, both works. with old views also. You can do it with new CDS views also. You can do it, like for example, if I want to say data, LT or iTab, type table of my view type. So that is supported in both the type of views. We can do that. Okay. What about metadata model? So that is supported only in CDS views, not in traditional views. For example, if I want to define a label for a technical field, let's say I'm putting a technical field called supplier ID. So I just want to name to the user on my Fiori app, or on my screen, I want to showcase the label as, let's say, supplier identification number. How can I do that? I can do it with the help of meta model concept of CDS views, but that's not possible with traditional views. What about extensions? So if customers and partners would like to extend an existing view functionality, it is possible with the help of CDS views, not possible with traditional views. Built-in functions. So built-in functions like, you have built-in functions like unions, join, union all these functions are supported with CDS view. Enhanced capabilities not supported with traditional views. Of course, outer join also we discussed. That is something, if you want to increase the complexity of your data joins, the outer join comes into the picture, then that's supported with CDS views, not with traditional views. So that's one reason why you should go with CDS views, not traditional data views. Hope that answer some of your question. Indeed, this was one of the major question when I actually started learning CDS views. Why CDS views? Why not traditional data views? Okay, so that's the major advantage of using CDS views over traditional data views. Okay, then coming to the categories of CDS views, there are two categories of CDS views. So if I say categories of CDS, there are two categories: CDS views with parameters. Yeah, this is one more advantage, guys. You cannot have parameters in conventional views. Parameters and ready to use system variables, you cannot have it in your traditional views. That's supported using CDS views. You can pass a parameter, for example, like we saw an example of currency conversion. I can pass a currency code to which I would like to convert, and that's something supported with CDS views. Basically apply to do all what you need to do code push down. So CDS views without parameters, and CDS views with parameters. That's the two type of options we have it. So CDS views with parameters, CDS views without parameters. So these are all the two categories of CDS views. Now, from the semantic point of view, those who are working with SAP S4 HANA product, guys, from semantic point of view, from S4 HANA product point of view, we have three major categories of CDS views, guys. This is very important information because I worked in one of the S4 HANA project and I've seen this information there. How do they build CDS views? So basically they build CDS view in three categories. So let me just quickly brief you about those three because this will also help you in S4 HANA products. So first is called basic views. This is also known as interface views. Okay. These are also known as interface views, also known as basic views. So basic views are basically the interface views, and they are typically made as a private views, which means nobody can hit these views directly. They are made as private views. What is these views are used for? They are used to access database tables directly. Mainly if you talk about these views, then you have dimensions built using these views. This will help you guys in S4 HANA products. Those who are working in S4 HANA, this will definitely help you. This information. This is how S4 HANA consumes the view concept. So basic or interface view is typically a private view. Only the database table it access. Dimensions are built using these views. The second type of views are composite views. Composite views are intermediate views. They are basically used to define the analytical capabilities, and they are used to combine multiple interface views. Okay, they're used to combine multiple views or tables using association association concept, and they are the base for building analytics, but they are also not consumed directly by the Fiori app or anything else. Then on top of it, we build something called consumption view. So consumption views, as the name suggests, these are all the real things what you will be hitting directly onto. So your OData service always hits a consumption view. If you want to hit something from your BOBI tool or BOPF or IDA, you will use always a consumption view to call it. So this is the final consumption will happen through this, happens via consumption. Now, reason for that, the reason is very simple. There is a design pattern which I learned in my architectural course called facade. So it acts like a facade design pattern. It hides the complete complexity for the caller. Imagine you are a developer and you're building a Fiori app to consume the CDS view. Okay. Now, if you start consuming basic views, you have hundreds of database tables. How will you do it? You have to call table A, B, C, D, E, and hundreds of tables from your UI program. Will your software be an easy software to understand by anybody? You built your CDS view, you built OData services, you are calling it. Good, very good. But will it be understand? Will it be a good architecture that you have everything, so many things? When you look at your UI program, it's calling A, B, C, D, hundreds of things. Very difficult. Very, very difficult somebody to understand that. So you will build a private view. You will do all the data protection at this level. This is the base layer. Okay, this is how you build your base layer. All the metadata, all the dimensions you will build. Then on top of it, all the analytical capabilities like doing aggregations, fact tables, building cubes, all your data modeling will be done on this. And finally, just multiple composite views are combined and built a composition of those composite views builds your consumption view. So all the complexity for the consumer, for a Fiori app or for a BOBI tool is hidden behind this. This is a nice, beautiful layer behind this. All the complexity is hidden. Have you ever opened your electricity box of your house, which is also known as DG? If you open the DG, what you see on the top of DG, you will see nice buttons, nice panel and a buttons. You will see different MCLs to on and off your house lights basically. But when you open the DG box, you will see huge complexity. You will see so many wires coming here and there. And that's what exactly DG is doing. It's hiding the entire complexity behind the box and just giving you an interface, just giving you switches to control your entire house electricity with simple MCL switches. Correct. So that's exactly happens in software. You have a consumption view which hides the entire complexity behind the scenes, and this is also known as facade design pattern. If you go for any time in your life architecture course, you will see one design pattern in your course called facade. Facade is nothing but beautifying or hiding the entire software complexity behind the scenes, creating a facade class which gives you an access to all the major operations, hiding all the complexity behind the scenes. So that's why exactly also S4HANA is designed. They write always consumption views. These views always starts with C underscore. If you're working in SAP S4HANA product, you will see lot of CDS views starting with C underscore. These are all consumption views. Okay. Interface view always starts with I underscore. Interface views or basic view I underscore, you will see they're called interface views. Composite views, I don't remember, I think they start with CO, but maybe I have to check it. But I'm sure about C underscore and I underscore. Basic views and consumption views, they always start with C underscore, which means C underscore in SAP S4 HANA means it's a consumption view, you can consume it. All the auditor services built on top of the CDS views in SAP S4HANA product are also using consumption views. Very important information specific to SAP S4HANA product. Those who are working in S4HANA products, this is going to be important for you guys. Okay, those who are not maybe working on ABAP on HANA, try to use the same methodology, try to adapt this methodology to get you a very good design, because S4 HANA is all about best practices, best practice, best designs, best industry solutions are built in S4 HANA product. That's what SAP S4HANA. For your information, by 2025, majority of the customers or SAP, all the SAP customers have to migrate to SAP S4HANA. This has been announced, and every company have to do migration on SAP S4HANA. So see, you will see definitely a big boom. You will see great demand for you if you are learning CDS views, EMDPs, ADBCs, all these concepts you know very well. Then you will see definitely a uh, good number of calls coming from multiple companies in your resume. Okay, so you can go ahead and include SAP S4HANA work with CDS views in your resume. We will see some good examples also in upcoming chapters. Okay, so let's go ahead and create our first CDS views. As I promised, we will start with the DDL source, a source document or a data definition source, and then on activation it would create two artifacts in the system. We will see both of these artifacts in the system. Once again, to build these new concepts, to use these new concepts, you cannot use your SAP GUI. You have to use SAP, or you have to use ADT tools, ABAP development tools in Eclipse is only can be used to create CDS views. We cannot use SAP GUI. And on this point, I would also like to answer to the people who are always fan of Web IDE when I was teaching Fiori course. See guys, you cannot build CDS views, EMDPs using Web IDE. That's why I taught you the Fiori course on Eclipse, because Eclipse can handle simultaneously all your developments. It can handle Fiori development, not just ABAP development, Fiori development. It handles your SAP S4 HANA related artifacts. Using ADT tools, you can access your ABAP system. It can also handle your HANA related artifacts using modular perspective. In fact, in next course, I will show you about HANA Access, HANA server-side JavaScripting, Access.js and stuff like that. Pure HANA Access development is also supported by Eclipse. So why should I teach you Web IDE? It supports wide variety of development. If I work on Java project, it also supports Java project. It also supports HANA Cloud Platform development. I already have launched a HANA Cloud Platform course. I already taught how to create OData services using HANA, using Java. So core Java, JPA, Java Persistence API, Eclipse Link, JNDI lookup, um, Olingo framework to build OData services, all that complete Java based cloud solution we have built in that course. And that was also purely on Eclipse. So Eclipse IDE is evolving, and this is the choice of IDE which we typically use. Of course, HANA Studio is a children of Eclipse. It's basically Eclipse. So if I come to HANA Studio and show you here, you can see it's actually Eclipse. So if you click on HANA Studio, it's actually in Eclipse. So you can see it's an eclipse.org product. See, it is Eclipse. It's built on top of. So what SAP have done, since Eclipse is an open source, they have downloaded all the source code and they have changed and built an HANA Studio on top of Eclipse. So it is Eclipse. It's a children of Eclipse, guys. HANA Studio is a children of Eclipse. Okay. Very important point to note. Why am I not able to log in? Let me just log into my Cal account, guys. Just give me a second. Okay, so now we will go to the system and create our first CDS views using ABAP development tools. So let's go ahead and do that. And then later on, we will see how to build CDS views also with context of SAP S4HANA product. We will also see how to consume the CDS view via OData service from Fiori application, and also see how to consume CDS view using IDA, integrated data access, ALV. Advanced ALV concept in ABAP on HANA allows you to access CDS views directly. We'll see that in the system in a in our demos. So let's get started. Let me quickly log into the server. So this is the ample amount of theory to crack any interview. That's what typically I do in every session. I cover ample amount of theory to just focus on the topic, and then we will move to the system so that we can understand what's going on behind the scenes. Okay, so let's go to that. Let it log in. So again, CDS is an extension of SQL. So it's an extension of DDL, DQL, and DCL. So DDL means data definition language. You can also not just query the data from CDS, you can create the data also. You can create the tables, you can create the views. All that is possible because CDS has capability of DDL, data definition language. Majorly, the CDSs are used for DQL, data query language, where you want to query the data in a way that it does the code push down to the database layer. And then you also have authorization control using DCL, data control language, which we will see how to restrict data access via CDS views in our ABAP on HANA server. Okay. Oops, looks like I have some issues, guys. Just give me a minute. I have forgot to record the meeting, guys. I'm so sorry. I will put the code snippet. I completely forgot. I think somewhere in the middle when I was starting the server, I stopped the recording. So I'm so sorry for that. Maybe you guys will get all the source code. You can try the source code with that. But if possible, we'll see what else is missing. So maybe I will try to re-record in my next batch and post that recording here. Okay. So now here define view name as select from sales order table. This is my first definition, first table I'm selecting, and then I'm doing an inner join with my business partner table on condition sales order dot buyer GUID equals to business partner dot node key. Next is left outer join. Now see, this is not possible with your conventional views in data dictionary. It's possible with CDS views. So I am now joining my sales order table with invoice table. It may happen that you have a sales order, but yet the product is not in your stock and you have probably not invoiced the customer. So basically my requirement is my manager want to find how many orders you've got from every customer and how many of them you have delivered. Basically you've invoiced them. Okay, and I want to know the difference between that amount. So you can build a CDS view for that here. So you have first join with business partner table to get the customer name, and then SNWD sales order invoice header table as invoice header on join condition sales order dot node key matches with invoice header dot sales order ID. Yes, sales order GUID. Yeah, so this is the join condition, guys. Now between these two, again one more time we have to define some annotations for accessing the view as well. So you remember some of the annotations we had was like access control authority check. So access control annotation authorization check, and I will say don't check, not required. Yeah, so that's my annotation, and now you see I have a join. So I have three joins. Let me read the data now based on these three joins. So I will just get from business partner table the company name as company name. Then I will get from my sales order table the gross amount of sales amount, and then my invoice table, invoice header table, I will get the gross amount from this table. So with this, I will get to know how much sales order have come from each company and what is that I have invoiced already. How much I've invoiced out of that order. Very important business used case where you want to know from which customer what orders have come and how many of them already invoiced. Three tables. Now left after join, why? Because it may be possible that you have a sales order which is not yet invoiced because you don't have the product in your stock. You have not shipped it, so you cannot invoice. See, you purchase something from me, until I deliver, I cannot invoice you. I cannot ask money from you that you give me the money for this product. So that's what is there in invoice header table. So it may be possible that you have some order which has come to you, but since the stock was not available, you did not yet create an invoice for that order. So that difference you will get to know now from this view. Activate it, check and activate. This view gets created, and let me execute. And you can see per customer, you will see every single order with the corresponding invoice amount. So if there is a difference, you will anyways get to know. I don't think so there is a difference. All the invoices, all the sales orders have been invoiced already. So it has just read the 100 rows. You can also do an aggregation actually. Just apply a sum. How much total orders have come from this customer? You can do a sum. And how much total orders have been invoiced for per customer? You can do a sum. Apply the aggregation and then group by company name. This is possible. So let's activate it. And now you will get to know per customer how many total order have come and how many total orders have been invoiced by for executed. And you can see the value. See some difference, guys. See, for this customer I've got this much order, but only this much have been invoiced. You see this amount. You can actually calculate a difference also on fly. That's the beauty of SAP HANA or CDS views. You can calculate a difference between these two, some amounts. I hope so you can. So this minus this as difference. Let me see. No, I cannot. Maybe I have to create a consumption view on top of it to calculate this difference, guys. I cannot do it here. I have to create a consumption view on top of it where I'm getting these aggregated amounts from this view, and on top of this another view which does this. So let me copy this before the server gets switched off. So get sales versus invoice amount. So that's an aggregation. So now I want to convert this join to association condition. So it's very simple. Instead of inner join, type association 1:1, because per sales order you have one business partner. Okay, per sales order you have one business partner. Okay, association this to the business partner table. And second one, left outer join, we can say association 0 to 1, which means it may be possible that there is a sales order but there may not be an invoice for it. That's a left outer join condition for association, guys. So same code, instead of inner join put association 1:1 2, and association 0:1 2 for left outer join. For right outer join this flips, it becomes 1:0 for right outer join. Let's activate it. It produces absolutely same result. That's called association concept in CDS views. Just converting join condition to a more better representation. Example 7, association with CDS. It will give you the same result. Let me execute it, and it produces the same result. You can see it's producing the same result. That's association concept. Hope it's clear to everybody. Now, anybody in OData, we have learned OData in our Fiori classes. We saw the association concept in OData. When you create an OData service on top of this, okay, when you create an OData service on top of these CDS views, actually this association becomes live in OData as well. Okay, it becomes live in OData as well. We will see that we will see that in our next chapter, because server is going to also switch off now. It's already 2 hours. So we'll see how to build an OData service in our next class on top of CDS views. We'll see how does this association turns into an OData association, so it will get you the dependent entity data. And we will also see how to basically consume this OData service in a Fiori application, and then consume CDS views on ALV, and also the security concept for CDS views. All three concepts is what we will see also in context of SAP S4HANA. So can you please repeat association once again? Okay, so concept of association is basically converting your join condition to an more readable syntax. So instead of inner join, we just put association 1:1, which means there's exactly one record in the child table corresponding to parent table. 2, and that's it. So here it was inner join, guys. This was just an inner join and this was a left outer join. Okay, and this is what we converted to an association, more readable format. Okay, more readable format in CDS context. So as you know, CDS is an extension of SQL. So in SQL you write join like this. In CDS form, if you want to write, you can write association 1:1 for inner join, basically, because there is exactly one record in both tables corresponding to the join condition on, sorry, to the table name. Okay, and here this outer join association, and then 0 to 1, and then 2, and the next table. So that's it. You just convert an inner join and outer join corresponding to association condition like this. That's the only change, guys. This is the CDS representation. Okay, this is the CDS representation of joins, basically. That's what exactly association is. In the next chapter, I will show you an example of writing this code in little more different manner, which you will find in S4HANA. Typically the views are written in that way, so that we can also expose the data from association to OData service. Okay, that's what we'll see in the next chapter. I'm so sorry, some of the recording of this today's class has been missed out. I forgot to publish or record the meeting. Please look at this example from this notepad file. You can try all these examples one by one in your server, and hopefully you'll be able to understand. Rest all the things are anyways there in the PPT. So majority of the things got recorded, but some part where my server was not running, I had stopped the recording so that it doesn't get recorded. So that's what is not recorded, guys. I'm so sorry for that, but I will see if I can in my next batch can publish this recording once again in the current batch. Okay, please bear with me this part. It was completely my mistake. So see you in the next class for the next session.